What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the Alto again, and on the Magic School Bus, we are here with Zach of If These Trees Could Talk. Thank you so much for coming on to the show today, man. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, it's so awesome to have you here. Trail of Whispering Giants, the first new material we got from If These Trees Could Talk in 8 years since we heard Bones of a Dying World. I love Bones of a Dying World. It was one of, in my personal opinions, one of the, I think, in 2016, which was a great year for like prog music and whatnot. I think you beat, the Dream Theaters of the times and the Tesseracts at the time. I think that that Bones of a Dying World was the prog album of 2016. So with this new single, is this just like a good little taste of what a follow up to that album is going to be like, or is this just a sort of like a one off thing?
Yeah, we have some stuff in the oven. We just wanted to get something out sooner than later, so it's not, too much time in between. But I think over the summer we're gonna try to button that up. The only problem is it takes so long to get it down the pike and have it out. You turn something in and it's like 5 or so months down the road before it comes out. That's the only bummer. But we definitely have some stuff we're working on. Just wanted to throw a little track out there to keep everyone interested.
Well, being that If These Trees Could Talk is such an experimental band, like you could tell what will be off of like Red Forest or like the self-titled album or whatnot. Do you go into the making of each album with sort of like a vision or a preconceived idea, or is there sort of like a lot of improv involved with your songwriting?
Yeah, usually it's based on the length in between albums and stuff. The groups of songs that get made in that time kind of sound different from each, being like 3 years apart. So the new batch of songs we have is a little different than Bones, but usually when I'll get all the ideas together, we'll demo it out, and then from there usually comes the order and then the song titles, and then once we get a good theme, we'll name the album, you know what I'm saying? So it usually comes music first, and then all that art and the names come last.
Well, with the names, because I feel like your names are always a setting in a way, the bones of the dying world, above the earth, below the sky, and, the red forest. Was like the purpose, or is like the idea of these streets talk to sort of like create your own universe in a way, or is like this almost kind of like just from analyzing and looking outward at the world that we live in?
Yeah, no, a lot of the guys give us input, give me input on song names and stuff, but we almost, I like to look at the album as almost like a movie, and each song title is like a chapter of the movie. So you kind of try to like keep it moving, kind of tie them all together. But yeah, it's having, so with the song names and the themes and stuff, it is nice having the trees in the name to like set the scene, because then we can get a little more natural earthly vibes on the song titles and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You can kind of be a little obscure.
Would you consider the albums to almost be concept albums? Because I've never considered, and I mean it as a compliment, I never considered your music to be what I call shuffle friendly. You need to start off, like on Bones of a Dying World, you need to start off with Solstice. You need to end with One Sky Above Us. Like it has to sort of be in that sort of chronological experience. So would you consider each album to almost be like a concept album?
Yeah, definitely. I think they'd be concept albums, They all kind of tie together. They flow together nicely. We try to put interludes in to tie the songs together. And that was the only hard part about putting a single out, hoping people would still catch the vibe without all that storytelling in the process.
Do you want like the music to be more open to interpretation, or are you trying to maybe get the listener as engaged in the story or the meaning as much as the music itself?
No, I think what's nice about instrumental music is it gives the listener a chance to kind of zone out and just process whatever's going through their own mind. It's almost like a meditation. You listen to songs with lyrics, and you're listening to the singer. You're following along. You're maybe getting their ideas in your head. But with instrumental, you can kind of sit back, take the ride, and then at the end of the song, you're like, oh crap, I kind of worked something out in that song, in my own head that I didn't even think was was a problem. At least that's what happens for me when I listen to instrumental music.
Yeah, well, of course, like, and with instrumental music as well, like, you're not enslaved or like confined to the verse chorus formula, or like maybe adjusting your instrumentation to sort of better suit the vocalist range, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of, there are no rules. That's the best part about it. It's like if there's a rule, we'll try to break it. Doesn't matter. Our only rule is it's got to have delay and some reverb. That's basically the only thing we
Yep.
stick to.
And I could see that rule easily being broken as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. We'll break it.
But with because instrumental music is so vague now, or not vague, but like it's so diverse when you look at instrumental music, because you guys sound very different from a band like Animals as Leaders, for example, or something like that. And there's always these different ways of expressing instrumental music. How did the sound that we hear from If These Trees Could Talk sort of come through fruition with this instrumental sound?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I was off at art school in Pittsburgh, I kind of put an album together with just what I knew what to do. You know, I'm more of a rhythm guitar player. And so I would make sure that, you know, the beats are cool, and it all kind of starts with a really simple rhythm guitar part. And my brother is really good, Cody, at adding that extra layer. You know, he can do the solos, he can do the tremolo picking, all the tasty stuff. So I usually try to bring him something that, you know, has some ups and downs, and some parts kind of just compiled together. And by the time he gets on there, it just totally changes. You know what I'm saying? And he's such a good guitar player. His tones are really good. He's really good with effect pedals. And, that's kind of how it all kind of worked out, just by luck.
Yeah, it seems like I would consider the music to be very experimental in itself as well, because like when you get to like the self-titled album and you look at a track like Signal Tree and you compare that to The Death of the Paradigm, it almost has its own sort of like idea, kind of like when I asked before, like if there's a preconceived vision in a way. But it's fair to say that there is plenty of room for experimentation, right? Like you're not like trying new things is not an obstacle, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the newer stuff has a little more synthy sounds on there that we never used to do. If that makes sense, we'll throw some piano parts in that are buried in there, and all that fun stuff. But I guess the theme for most of the stuff is, if we're gonna start somewhere, it's always D-tuned. You know what I'm saying? It's always tuned down to D. And when you make all the songs in that kind of tuning style, they all kind of just flow as one big song with a little bit of variation between all of them, you know?
Is that possible to actually make like one big song and like have the tuning adjust in a way? Because like when you take like a long piano composition, there are times where they hit the note that's like outside of the scale range in a way and stuff like that to kind of alter it. So have you ever sort of like maybe like in the middle of playing the song, like maybe adjust the tuning halfway through?
Yeah, not during the middle of the song, but there are some songs that, especially on Bones, where the guitar players in between song breaks completely change their tuning. They'll grab other guitars that are already in that tuning, and what that does is it just makes it kind of fresh on the neck of the guitar. You know, you get stuck in the same rut of writing the same riffs, and they all kind of sound the same. As soon as you like drop the B string, or you know, then you're like, oh, that's something I could have never reached on the neck of the guitar if it was too normal. So it does help get you outside of your box a little bit.
Well, if you were to play if you were to play this material live, and you know, kind of like because every album almost does feel like one big song, as you mentioned, in a way. So, but if you wanted, so how would maybe making a set list and kind of like compiling different songs together into one, or making a set list combining songs from different albums into one set, like how would that sort of be adjusted?
You know, that's actually pretty easy to do, because like you said, they all kind of sound the same. They're all in that same kind of droning tone. What helps are interludes, because live, I don't like dead time on stage without a singer, you know. So as soon as the song ends, I hit a sample pad, and it kind of plays some sort of sound or tone into the next track. And usually the next track starts in the same key. as the song before. So it's almost like if you didn't know our music, it's like, is this the same song? This is definitely the same song.
Well, and I think it's pretty fascinating too because it works in every way. Where like I feel like you are one of those bands where people can't have a favorite album because it's not going to make sense if they do. It feels like almost every album is like the If Trees Could Talk experiment.
Yeah, right. No, that's cool. I appreciate that. It's definitely been fun and if anything, I try to change the artwork just enough to where you can tell it's a different album. You know, like each album kind of has a color. You know, the self-titled's yellow, the Above Below is green, Red Forest is red, Bones gray, and this new track's kind of got a blue tint to it. But you know, it just kind of helps set the scene, set the tone.
Does all this tone come from personal emotions that you are all feeling in a way, or is music sort of like an escapism where you really don't need to bring your sort of like emotional aspects or experiences into it?
You know, without the lyrics, you know, it's not too much personal stuff in there. I think we just kind of go by feeling, you know, like if a riff rocks, we're like, that's a sweet riff. We gotta, you know, we know when something feels right. We grew up with like Tool and Deftones and all those bands in the early 2000s that are like really riff based, if that makes sense, you know? So it's all about the riff for us, for sure, when we write.
You know, and you're not the first band to say that. In fact, because I've done over 1,800 interviews now, and almost every single band, and I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing, but they always say, yeah, it usually starts off with a riff. And this goes whether I'm interviewing prog bands, death metal, black metal, hard rock, metalcore. So my question for you now is, do you think we're ever going to run out of riffs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything has kind of been recycled. Everything's kind of an interpretation of what you've heard before, you know? It goes back to that thing, like, is it art or is it interpretation? Like, did you really come up with something original that's artistic, or did you just digest a bunch of stuff and reinterpret it yourself? Which, I mean, that's kind of cool, you know? That's what makes stuff feel at home. You're like, I feel like I've heard this before. But you probably have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I think people find fear or resonate with it because it feels familiar.
Yeah, definitely.
When to get that inspiration though, and to create that atmosphere, is it better when you're in the company of all your bandmates, or isolation being such a great fuel for creativity? It's better for you to write alone when you're more in your own element.
Yeah, we might have written one song as a band, but most of it comes from something that you're just noodling around on your own, and I'll come up with a riff, I'll record it on my phone, then I'll take it out to my studio and I'll track it nice. And then usually by the time I track it with good quality and throw some drums to it, it's got enough there to where when my brother comes in, it's just, he changes the flavor completely. And you're like, all right, that's sweet. You know, since we have 3 guitars, the drums and bass kind of, you know, rock that rhythm section. And then that first guitar will just lay, like almost like in classical music, you know, like the basic bones of it. And then I look at the 2 other guitars as like a string instrument, you know, that can like go off of that first riff. Then you have that third layer that just adds the lead. And by the time you mix them all together, it doesn't even sound like the first riff that you brought to the table. So even if it's a really simple, stupid riff, I'll bring it up and it usually turns into something keepable, you know?
So going back to what I was saying about running out of riffs, if you have 3 guitar players, that's not a fear that you have to worry about.
Yeah, right. You just got to worry about it getting a little too complicated. You know, sometimes 3 guitars is like too much. You're like, 2 maybe need to do the same thing, or 1 sits out on this little section. Sometimes, especially in post-rock, the downtime, the air between stuff is the beautiful part. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we try to walk that fine line where it's not too chaotic.
You mentioned that word post, so you just opened up a hornet's nest now. What does that word mean? Because I've heard of post-black metal, I've heard of post-hardcore, I've heard of post-rock.
Right.
What does that exactly mean? I'm starting to literally call post bands the ear split sounds, your PR, because a lot of those post bands, they have all like the gazy and droney bands, but like that's the only thing I can think of. Shout out to ear split.
Yeah, right. No, for sure. It's funny because when we first started, like back in 2001, 2004, post-rock wasn't a term yet. So we would all just call ourselves instrumental rock, instrumental metal. Then all of a sudden, this scene kind of started forming where they were calling everything post. And I look at it as more like after the fact. Like, it's not rock, it's not classic rock, it's not metal. It's like something that came later from that, kind of like post game rock. But yeah, or you could just imagine a post in the field with a giant rock next to it.
Yep, pretty
There's
much.
your post rock right there.
Pretty much. I mean, or like music that just came after, whatever. But you mentioned that too, because like, for instance, there are a lot of bands that kind of sound like Iron Maiden in a way, and they call themselves power metal. But nobody's ever calling Iron Maiden power metal. There's a lot of bands that sound like Black Sabbath. They call themselves doom metal, but nobody's calling Black Sabbath doom metal. So.
Right, yeah, it is weird. I think everyone just kind of wants to fit into a scene. It's very scene-oriented, and adding that term kind of got us into a scene, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but hey, it works in your favor because a lot of the because I feel like a lot of the doom crowd, a lot of the prog heads, a lot of even like the black metal, like a lot of people who like that atmosphere of black metal appreciate If These Trees Could Talk as well.
Cool, yeah, no, that is nice. I like that we kind of bleed in there from the outside, because even other bands like John would say like Explosions in the Sky, we're way different than them. We might all be considered post rock, but it's definitely got a different vibe. Russian Circles has a more doomy vibe, but it's all under the same umbrella, and all those fans tend to pick at each of them, which is tight.
You just said one of the best tour lineups ever of you guys, Explosions of the Sky and Russian Circles. We got to make that.
Oh, that would be sweet. I know, right?
Yep. We got to make that happen. Yep.
Someday.
And with how broad the sound is too, it's fair to say that like everybody in If These Trees Could Talk has different inspirations, right? Because I feel like every guitar element, whether it's a riff or a solo or something more like droney or whatever, has this sort of like its own flavor behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we all have our own backgrounds in music, and then even the guys having different pedal setups and different different guitars which sound different. It all just bleeds together nicely, I think.
Yeah,
it works out.
100%. And the final question I wanted to ask you is the most difficult one for last. How do you know when you're finished with a song?
You know what? That is tough. I usually you start to demo it in the studio and it's got one guitar and you're like, oh, I like that. And then you get really used to that. I'm a big fan of putting it on a disc and taking it in the car and like almost making yourself sick of it to see if, you still like it. And then you start to get sick of it. And then my brother will add like another riff over top. And you're like, that was sweet. I like this. And it just keeps building off that. But usually we don't like to add more than 3 guitars. So once that third guitar is in there, we kind of know you can't do anymore, especially if you're live. You don't know who's going to play it. No one can play it. So for us, we can make sure we have all the instruments in there. And yeah, I burn it to the ground. I play it so many times to make sure I'm okay with playing it over and over again. And then I'm like, hey, I think that'll work. You got to stop somewhere.
Fair enough. That was a very good technical answer. I appreciate that. And
right on. Yeah.
That was very well thought out. But it's fair to say, God forbid you lose one of those guitar players, you have to think about how do you know when a song is done all over again, right?
Yeah, no, the Trees will always have 3 guitar players no matter what. Just keep it at that.
Fair enough. So before we go, I want to thank you so mumuch for your time today. Most of all, thank you for giving us some new music. Again, I still listen to the whole catalog like it just came out yesterday, so I'm looking forward. Is there anything else with If These Trees Could Talk you'd like to promote with the release of new music, if you're allowed to say it this time?
No, right now it's just a single right now, but we're playing in London in the end of May at Portals Fest. And we are also playing Post Fest in Indianapolis at the end of July, which the Post Fest lineup is pretty epic. So if people are around, come check us out. Don't give up on us yet. We'll start, putting some stuff out.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to hearing it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, man.
Everybody, we are here with If These Trees Could Talk. Trail of Whispering Giants. Check out that new single. It is absolutely kick-ass. And check out their whole catalog. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.